Hello and welcome to today's webinar on addressing diversity and wellness within the strengthened aged care quality standards. Today we're looking at Standard 4, the environment. My name is Dale Park and I'm the Director of Diversity Training and Consulting, and I'll be taking you through these webinar series. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that this webinar is being recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung peoples, and I pay respect to them as the traditional custodians of the land. I recognise it always has and always will be Aboriginal land. I honour the strength and resilience of First Nations peoples and communities and pay respects to all elders, past, present, and First Nations people watching this recording. In Standard 1, we went through some background around definitions of diversity and wellness, intersectionality, and how it relates to the aged care sector and why we need to be taking an intersectional approach, as well as background into the Royal Commission into Aged Care, the Aged Care Act being developed within a human rights-based approach, and the changes that were being highlighted for the strengthened aged care quality standards. If you missed Standard 1, I highly recommend that you go back and watch this introduction, as it really is quite key to setting the scene. So let's have a look at Standard 4. The intent of Standard 4 is to ensure that older people receive care and services in a physical environment that is safe, supportive, and meets their needs. Within all of the standards, there is an older people statement and a worker statement. So the older people statement for Standard 4 is, I feel safe and supported where I live. And the worker statement is, I create a safe and supportive environment. Standard 4 is also about ensuring that the physical environment in which care is delivered is safe, clean, comfortable, and conducive to the well-being of older people. The standard highlights the need for environments that support movement, engagement, and inclusion, making sure that spaces are accessible and that they are therefore reducing safety risks. This includes maintaining equipment that meets the specific needs of diverse populations and providing environments that promote social connection and a sense of belonging. By ensuring that the environment is tailored to the individual needs of older people, this statement supports person-centered care and wellness practices, fostering an atmosphere where individuals feel respected, safe, and empowered to maintain their independence. We're now going to have a look at a case study, and as you're watching the case study, I'd like you to think about the ways in which this case study and the practice that's being implemented aligns with the requirements and the outcomes, as well as any other good practice that you're noticing. Three months ago, Cynthia broke her hip after falling off a mobility scooter the first time she used it. She purchased it second-hand online as she was hesitant to go through formal health services. At the time of her accident, Cynthia was in the middle of relocating to a single-storey home with her partner Marie, who has been living with dementia for 3 years. After leaving hospital, Lennon, an occupational therapist, visited Cynthia to assess her support needs, such as bathroom aids. He also provides Cynthia with some mobility scooter training and arranged for an emergency alarm to be provided in case she fell. On a follow-up visit, Lennon notices that Cynthia isn't wearing her emergency alarm. When he asks about this, Cynthia admits she's not in the habit of having it on her. They discuss the importance of the alarm and agree to update her care plan with a specific action for Cynthia to wear the alarm when at home. Cynthia also agrees to attend a gentle exercise and strength class to help her recovery. Lennon returns to check on Cynthia's progress. She says the rails and aids are helpful, she doesn't need the walker, and she is wearing her emergency alarm regularly. But she is concerned about Marie, who is struggling with the layout of the new house. Lennon recommends placing signs on the doors to label the rooms and even painting them different colours to make it easier for Marie to navigate. Cynthia agrees to try these suggestions, hoping they would ease some of Marie's confusion. 6 months later, Lennon conducts a full care plan review to assess Cynthia's progress and ensure all the aids and supports are still effective. Cynthia's hip has healed and her mobility has improved. She confirms she is still using the rails and bathroom aids and wears her emergency alarm regularly. Lennon asks how Marie is managing. Cynthia says Marie's memory has declined further, but the signs on the doors and different colours help her to navigate the house with more confidence. We're now going to have a look at some of the questions, and you may want to pause the video after each question to give yourself time to reflect and make any notes or discuss with any colleagues if you're doing this as a group. Question 1. Identify the key actions taken by Lennon that align with the outcomes from Standard 4. Question 2. How did Lennon's approach in supporting both Cynthia and Marie demonstrate person-centered care? Question 3. Cynthia was initially reluctant to use aged care services. What could be some reasons for her being hesitant? And how could your service communicate that it is safe and inclusive to help overcome such concerns? And question 4. If Cynthia and Marie were your clients, how effective would your current practices be in meeting their needs? What specific changes or improvements would you need to make to ensure that they would feel safe, respected, and supported? We'll now look at how this case study aligns with the different requirements and outcomes from Standard 4. Lennon's assessment of Cynthia's home environments align with the standard's requirements to identify and discuss environmental risks. By implementing bathroom aids and providing an emergency alarm, Lennon addresses potential hazards that could lead to further injury. His proactive approach in providing Cynthia with mobility scooter training further mitigates risk that could be associated with Cynthia's mobility and her independence into the future. Lennon conducts regular check-ins to ensure that the equipment is still working and that Cynthia is still using it. This is a crucial element of the strengthened standards. Providers need to be able to demonstrate that the equipment provided to the client is still appropriate and still working. This continuous monitoring and updating of Cynthia's care plan also demonstrates a commitment to ensuring that all of her aids support and meet her needs as they evolve. Lennon's recommendation to use signs and different colours on the doors to help Marie navigate the new house demonstrates a thoughtful approach to this new environment. This adaptation considers the specific needs of Marie, who is living with dementia, but also thinks about how it would support Cynthia to feel more at ease and comfortable with Marie navigating around the home. This ensures that the environment is supporting both of their sense of comfort and independence. Cynthia's reluctance to use formal health services meant that she went and bought a scooter secondhand and didn't receive any initial training on how to use it. And this ultimately led to her accident. Her hesitancy to engage with aged care services could be due to a variety of factors, such as concerns about cultural safety as an older woman of colour. It could be connected to fears of judgment regarding her relationship with Marie. She could be worried that Marie's declining health could leave her to be judged by others. She might be concerned about losing her own independence by asking for help or support. Or there could be accessibility issues around organising or attending appointments. While we don't know the exact reason for Cynthia's reluctance, it's crucial for service providers to consider all potential barriers an older person might experience. This case study highlights the importance of being attuned to the multiple and intersecting diversity characteristics and life experiences of potential clients. Service providers must proactively communicate how their services are individualized, inclusive, and responsive in order to overcome some of those barriers that may be preventing people from accessing services. That's why it's so important to not just consider who are your current clients, but what is the diversity of the community out there, and how could their lived experience and the messages that we're putting out impact whether they think our service will be safe and welcoming. So we've come to the end of this webinar, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of a summary around the strengthened standards. And they really are a pivotal step forward in enhancing the quality of care provided to all older Australians. The focus on diversity, wellness, trauma-aware and healing-informed practices really underscores the expectation for all aged care providers. It's absolutely essential that aged care providers create environments that reflect different cultural, linguistic, and religious backgrounds, as well as responding to the diverse gender identities and sexual orientations of all of our clients. The strengthened aged care quality standards are really attempting to dismantle the systemic barriers that exist for older people and shift to a more equitable and compassionate aged care system. So thank you for participating in this webinar. If you haven't done already, please make sure you go back and watch Standards 1, 2 and 3 and look out for Standard 5, which is also available on the Sector Development Team's websites. If you've got any further questions or information, please reach out to your local Sector Support and Development team. And if you're in either the Grampians, the East Metro, Melbourne area, or the North, West or Loddon Mallee areas, the contact details for your Sector Support and Development team are on the screen now. And this is the team that have brought you these webinar series. If you'd like to connect with me, the QR code will take you to my LinkedIn profile. Thanks again for joining us for these webinars, and I hope that they've been able to provide some further support and guidance around how the strengthened aged care quality standards need to be considered within a diversity and wellness lens.